Hi, this is Phyllis. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be of these nestled herringbone earrings. And if you like what you see, stay tuned for my materials list and we will get started. The materials for today's project are 11O seed beads, and the color is Gold Line Frost Crystal. These are Toho brand. And 8O seed beads in the same color, also Toho. I'm using 15O seed beads, and these are Miyuki, and the color is Duracoat Galvanized Pyrite. Let's see. Duracoat Galvanized Pyrite. And I'm using two colors of 4mm Bicone Crystals. They are Swarovski. I've found them in my stash. The one color is Jet AB and the other color is Fire Opal AB. I'm using my wire guardians and ear wires, and these are the antique gold color, a size 10 beading needle, and fire line, 6-pound fire line in the crystal color, my pliers for flattening thread and opening the ear wires, and my fire line. These are my embroidery scissors that I'm using for today, and of course bead mat. I have my gray bead mat over the Velox, the light color Velox, because the color is easier. The colors that I'm using for the video are easier to see on the gray. So let's gather your materials. One thing I do want to say is, if you want to make a double-sided earring, you can use the same color, you can use a different color, but I'm going to use two different colors to show you how to do this. Also, you can use any 4mm bead. It could be a pearl, it could be a fire polish, it could be druck, or cuboid, any of those shapes. If you like this one I used a 4mm pearl, so you can use any 4mm round or bicone bead to make this. So gather all of your materials, and when I turn the camera back on, we will get started. To begin, I have strung a yard of my fire line onto my needle, and we're going to string on 4 of our 4mm bicones. And we are going to bring these down and just leave a short tail, and we're going to just tie these in a knot. And then we're going to make a double by passing our thread through the loop twice and tightening down and passing our needle into a bicone next to the knot, and you pull your thread through. And you want to be careful. You want to be careful not to pull your knot into the bicone, because you're going to be going through the bicone, and you don't want your knot blocking your bicone entrance. And I'm going to leave the tail thread there momentarily while I continue. Now, so this is what you should have, your one right angle weave unit. If we can focus on the one right angle weave unit of the bicones, and I'm going to continue to make my cubic right angle weave. If you are going to make your earrings two color reversible, this is where you're going to add your other bicones. When you pull your thread, make sure, just be careful not to pull that knot into those bicones. All right. From here, now my thread is exiting this bicone here. I'm going to string on. After I untangle my thread, you know it wouldn't be a video unless I tangle my thread. Okay, so you're going to string on 1 8/0 and a bicone and an 8/0, and you're going to pass your needle back into this bicone that you're exiting from the back, and pull your thread and reinforce this unit by going back into your 8/0, your bicone, your 8/0, and your original bicone. And we are going to now advance our thread into the next bicone and pull. Once here now, you're going to string on an 8/0 and a bicone, and you're going to pass your needle back into this 8/0 here and the bicone that you are exiting, and pull your thread. I'm going to reinforce this unit by passing your needle into the 8/0, the bicone, this 8/0 here, and the bicone where we began. And this is what you should have, whether it's laying flat or up. It doesn't matter because it's going to be sitting up soon. And here I'm going to just cut off my tail. I may have to go and cut it a little shorter later, but yeah, that's good. Now, with your thread exiting the original bicone from the last unit, now we're going to advance into the next bicone to make our third unit. And here we're going to string on an 8/0 and a bicone, and we're going to pass our needle back into this 8/0 here and this bicone that we started, this unit, and we're going to reinforce the unit by going into the 8/0, the bicone, the 8/0, and the original bicone where we started. So this is what we have. Whether it's cubed up or laying flat, this is how it's going to look. So now we have 3 units done, and now we just have to make our final unit, which means I have to now advance into the final bicone from our original right angle weave unit. And in order to get into position to add our last bicone, we need to do this. We need to pass up into this 8/0, which is the right angle to our last bicone of the original unit. And if you're looking at it from the top here, you can see that of course we have these 3 black or jet color bicones, and we have our 2 8/0s on the side. So the only thing we have to add now is our final bicone, and we're going to pass our needle down into this 8/0, and we are going to reinforce this final unit, if you can see it, which is here. This is our final unit, the original bicone, the 8/0 that we added, the new bicone, and the other 8/0, and we're going to reinforce that unit. And that's where I cut my thread, so the knot should be on the side of the bicone, and we're going to just continue around, tangling up our thread as usual, passing through our 8/0 and our bicone until we have gone through all of the beads in that unit. And we're going to go back down here through this original. It's getting a little tight there, but now we have to close off the black right angle weave unit. It's not connected. The beads are there, the bicones are there for the unit, but there's no thread here between the bicones. There's no thread that goes from this bicone to this bicone. They're open and they're loose. So that's what I mean when I say I have to close the unit. So I'm going to, since I brought my thread is coming out of the bicone here on the side, and in order to begin to close off the unit, you have to pass your needle into one of the bicones in the black and the jet unit and start from there. So we're just going to go around. So this is, I'm starting, my thread is exiting here and I'm starting. So in order to close it up, you have to go through this bicone, and I'm just turning it so I can work better. This bicone and this bicone, and that closes up the unit. However, all of our other units are reinforced, so we're going to reinforce this one as well. Just by going through all of the bicones a second time. I'm trying to be in frame, but I am going to take a break and I'm going to come back with you and get started on the next part of our earring. So we completed reinforcing our last bicone unit, and you can tell that I reinforced because there are 2 threads going between each of these bicones, and we have some thread showing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a 15/0 between the bicones. So I strung on a 15/0 and pass my needle to the next bicone. String on a 15/0, pass your needle to the next bicone. 15/0, pass your needle through the next bicone. 15/0, pass your needle through the next bicone. And just the bicone. And then we're going to turn our work and we're going to pass into, okay, well, we're going to pass into this 8/0 here, and we're going to go into one of our fire opal bicones. And actually I want to go into this one, and that's only so that I can pass my thread away from me. I like to work away from myself, so I'm going to string on a bicone, pass my needle through the next bicone in line, string on a bicone, pass my needle into the next bicone. It's a little tight there, but I think that's where my knot is. And one more 15-0, pass my needle into the next bicone, and my final 15-0, pass into the next bicone. And the only reason I did that is because I'm seeing thread and I just want to cover that. So this is how your unit should look on each side. A right angle weave unit on this side with a 15-0 between the bicones, and then the side, and then the other side with the 15-0s. From here, we are going to pass our needle into this 8-0 on the side. This is where you're going to need to begin doing your herringbone units. So I'm just going to move my 8-0s and my 15-0s out of the way for now, and I'm going to pull my 15-0s to the front. I'm sorry, my 11-0s, so that I can work with them. And I'm going to begin my herringbone by stringing on. All right, this is the side. I'm going to string on 2 11-0s, and I'm going to pass my needle back into the 8-0 where I'm exiting. Pull my thread and position your beads so that they are sitting in a herringbone style. That means they should be sitting up like this. Really, they should be standing like that, side by side. But it's kind of hard to do right now because you just pulled them through the 8-0, but that's going to work itself out. So I'm going to reposition so I can do my next herringbone unit, and I'm going to reposition by, focus please, yes, passing my needle through this 11-0 bead right here. I'll pull my thread, and that's a proper way for your beads to be sitting. We're going to continue our herringbone by stringing on 2 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to pass my needle back into the second seed bead here and pull my thread. And because we're just getting started with our herringbone units, we're going to pass our needle back into our 8-0 seed bead right here. And I'm going to reposition by going into these 2 11-0s here. And I'm about to make a terrible tangled mess with my thread unless I do my thread management, and pull my thread, and this is where we are. This is what we should have. Now, we continue our herringbone by stringing on 2 of our 11-0 seed beads and passing our needle into the top hole, the top seed bead that is sitting next to the seed bead where your thread is exiting, and we are going to pass our needle into just that one seed bead there. Pull our thread and position your beads so that they are sitting properly. And now we're going to continue our herringbone by passing up into this seed bead right next door where we started, right here, and completing this step with our step up. So now we have 3 columns. Now, continuing, we're going to string on 2 seed beads, 11 O's, and my thread is exiting here on the left. I'm going to pass my needle down into the right, 11 O seed bead, pull my thread down, hold on to the beads so you can try to keep them in their herringbone formation. Pass the needle up into the original seed bead where you started on the left, and the top seed bead that you added as our step up. Pull the thread and tighten down by holding your thumb there and making sure that there is no slack in your beads. And you continue this manner until you have 15 columns of your herringbone stitch. And I'm going to continue my herringbone work on this side, and I will turn my camera back on when I get my 15 columns done, or they could be rows as well, but a row to me is going this way, columns go this way, so I'm saying my columns. So 15 rows, 15 columns, it's your preference, but we just need 15 of them, and how we count those is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5, and I need to do 10 more. And I'll be back with you once I get my 15 done on this side. So I completed my 15 columns / rows of herringbone, and my thread is exiting in the usual place, and I'm going to just reposition so we can get started on the other side by passing my needle and down into all of the all of the 11 O seed beads that are on the right side, making sure that you check the back to make sure you don't see your needle. So I don't see my needle, and I'm just going to pull my thread down, and I have a tangled thread mess. I don't understand how I just did that, but I guess that's my occupational hazard for today. All right, to continue, I'm going to pass my needle into the 8-0 where we began our herringbone, and into this 4mm bicone here, and into this 8-0 seed bead that is on the opposite side of where we started. I think that's perpendicular. So we started here in this 8-0 here, and we made this strip of herringbone. And now our needle is exiting this way, and I'm going to turn my work so that so it's going to be facing away from me, but it is in this 8-0 seed bead that's opposite from this previous strip, and we're going to make another strip the same way by stringing on 2 of our 11 O's, passing our needle into the 8-0 here, and repositioning by passing up into the left side 11-0, this is what we have. String on 2 11/0s and pass our needle into the 11/0 on the right side. And passing our needle into the 8/0 again. And into these 2 11/0s on this side, and continuing by stringing on 2 11/0s, and pass our needle into this 11/0 on the right side, being sure to position our seed beads in the herringbone fashion here, and passing our needle into these 2 11/0s on this side, which is the original where we started, and the step up, and pull down just to make sure that you have a tight fit here. Tight fit. Continue by doing the same thing, stringing on and passing the needle here into the seed bead on the right, and continuing on the same way until you have 15, a strip of 15 herringbone columns. Okay, I'll see you when I'm there. I completed the 15 herringbone strip on the other side, and now we're going to connect, and we're going to do a tubular herringbone with our connection. Just make sure that you don't have your your strips are not twisted, so that when you connect them, it won't be a problem for you. I'm going to turn my work this way, and my thread is exiting this back. It's exiting this back seed bead here. This is the back, and this is the front. And I'm going to just pass my needle into the 2 seed beads in the front there, and just going to look at what I'm doing here just to make sure that my strips aren't twisted, and I'm going to pass my needle up into the right side there, just the second bead on the right side, so that we can get these 2 together. I'm going to make a circle out of it so that I can connect them. I'm just going to go back into that second seed bead on the left so that they are connected, and back into, I'll just make sure that these are not twisted, back into that second seed bead on the right, but this time I'm going to go up into the top seed bead on the right, and I'm just going to make sure that these are connected, that it's tight there. I'm going to do the same thing on the top. My thread is coming out of this seed bead here on the top, and I'm going to just pass it into the left, back up. But before I would go pass it back up, I'm going to string on a 15/0, and then I'm going to pass my needle back up here. And now that I'm here, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to do the same exact thing that we just did. My needle is exiting. Now that I turned it to face me with the fire opal facing me, because the last time I did it with the jet facing me. I'm going to turn it with the fire opal facing me, and I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to pass down the front 2 seed beads, and pass my needle up. Pass our needle here into just the second seed bead and make a circle just by going back into the second seed bead on the left. And this time we're going to go back into the seed bead on the right, up into the top. Make sure that's nice and tight. Pass the needle back down into the seed bead on the left. String on a 15-0. Pass it up into the seed bead on the right. This time we're going to do more herringbone. I'm going to do it just like this. I'm going to string on 2 11-0s, and this time I'm going this way. Pass my needle into the herringbone that is on the left, and turn my work to my right and reposition and pass my needle into this seed bead here, and turn it around this way now. String on 2 11-0s and pass my needle into this seed bead on the left. And just arrange them because they are not sitting properly. All right, now I'm turning my work again, and I'm going to reposition. I need to pass my needle up into these 2. And pull the thread. And when I get here now, I'm going to string on 2 11-0s and pass my needle into the top 11-0 there, and string on a 15-0 and pass it into, oh, this 15-0 is temperamental. I got a tiny hole there, so get another 15-0 and pass it into these 2 on the right. Pull the thread and position your work. Turn your work again. come down, these two, and back up this one, and string on 2 11-ohs. Pass your needle down into the one on the left. Make your bead sit properly in the herringbone fashion and string on a 15-0. Pass your needle up into these two on the side, on the right side. Come back around and do this again. Pass your needle down here on the left into the two, and back up to these on the left there, and one more time. This time, we're not going to add anything. Yes, we are. We're going to add 2. Pass them down. Pass your needle down to the left. String on a 15. Pass your needle up into these two on the right, and we have another temperamental 15. Okay, discard that one. I don't know, you could use a size 12 needle, but this is different, having temperamental 15-ohs with tiny holes. So you pass your needle up into the 2 11-ohs on the right, and come down here into the 2 11-ohs on the left, back up the 2 11s here on the side. String on 2 11s. Pass your needle back into this 1 11 here on the left. String on a 15-0. Make sure this one fits. It fits. Pass your needle up to these 2 seed beads on the right. Now, this is what you should have. You should have your 3 15-ohs on both sides. And I'm going to add a thread, and we're going to make our bail connection. We're going to add the bail connection now, going by stringing on an 11-0, an 8-0, an 11-0, and our wire guardian. I'm going to pinch it before I add it. I'm going to string my needle, pass my needle into one hole of the wire guardian, continue passing the thread through it and around the horseshoe and into the second hole. And once there, I'm going to pass it back through the top 11-0 and the neck and the 8-0 right there, just like that. And I'm going to pull my thread all the way down this time. And I'm going to hold my finger in the horseshoe just to make sure the thread is settled in there in the groove of the horseshoe. Now, once here, you're going to string on an 11-0. So you started out in the back of the tubular herringbone. We started out back here where we added our 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, and the wire guardian. Now I came back through the 11-0 and the 8-0 and I strung on an 11-0, and I'm gonna go right next door to it into the size 11-0 seed bead in the back, right next door to my connection back there. And I'm gonna pull this down and I'm gonna turn this around so that you can see that we have a complete connection here. And what I'm going to do is here I'm going to string on a 15-0. I'm going to pass my needle back into the 15-0, the 11-0 that is right next to where we are exiting, and I'm going to pass my needle up into the two 11-0s on the right side, just like we were doing. I'm going to pull my thread and I'm going to go right back into this 11-0 on the left side. Today. Okay, all I did was pass my needle right back down into that newly added 11-0 on the left and pull my thread, trying to avoid entanglements, and I went down too many. I was only supposed to go through the one. There you go. And now I'm going to string on a 15-0 and pass my needle up into the one seed bead on the right. And just force that to sit in its position, and pass my needle into these two seed beads here on the left now. And up. So you see what we have here. We've done the back. We've done the back, or one side of the bail, and so my needle is exiting here, the second seed bead, and I'm going to pass up into the top seed bead here on the left. And we are now in position to add the herringbone, or the rest of the bail connection on the front or side, whichever way you look at it. So at this point, my needle is exiting this top seed bead right here. I'm going to string on 2 11-0 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle. Oh, that's not right. I'm going to string on 1 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to pass my needle up into the 8-0, the 11-0, and my wire guardian, just the one side of it. And I'm going to continue to go around the horseshoe, and I'm going to get my needle down into the 11-0 and the 8-0 here, just those 2 beads, and I'm going to pull down on my thread, and I'm going to hold my finger here at my wire guardian just to make sure that the thread is resting in the groove, and that takes care of the reinforcement of the wire guardian. So once here, and you know my thread is exiting the 8-0 seed bead here, I need to string on an 11-0, pass my needle into this front seed bead, and get my thread managed and pull down on that. And once here, I'm going to string on a 15-0 and pass my needle up into these 2 seed beads here on the right. And I'm going to go back down into this seed bead on the left. And manage my thread. And I need a 15-0, which is over here, because I had some other 15-0s that were on break. They just didn't work out. I need a 15-0 here. And pass my needle up into this top 11-0 seed bead right here. And I'm just going to pass my needle back into the seed bead on the left, or a couple of seed beads on the left, and just going to make sure that my 15-0s are in place. I'm going to get rid of this thread here. So that I don't have additional entanglements. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass my needle up and down a couple of these seed beads here, just to make sure that the 15-0s don't come out of place, and that will take care of my reinforcement. And I'm going to go back down on this side. I'm not going to go through any of those 15-0s. Go back down on this side a few beads pull my thread down just to make sure I'm not tangled up in anything. And make sure I have some great arrangements here. Pass my needle down through a couple more. And do a security loop. Going back up this way. And down here. And just to make sure that things look good, my wire guardian is sitting in the right direction. And move my seed beads out of the way. And I'm going to nip off my thread. And I'm going to get my plier. As a matter of fact, here are both of them. And so it doesn't matter which side you want to wear the earring on, just to make sure that when you put your your ear wire on, that the side that you want showing is the same side on both sides. Or, you know, be a revolutionary and one side can be one color and the other side can be the other color. That's if you made these reversible. That's if you made them reversible. So I've got my jet color here going this way, and let's open up. I don't know, I didn't even show you how to do that. Just twist this open and put your earring on by the guardian and twist it back closed, and here you have it. You got a pair of earrings that have the nestled cubic raw nestle earrings, and you can wear them either side. Especially if you want to do something for Valentine's Day, you can wear the red side. So you have my herringbone, nestled herringbone, or raw, nestled raw herringbone earrings. I guess that's what they'll be called. But if you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you. Let me know if you make it, and right on Facebook. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.